This is Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy, being alongside here for the next 90 minutes. And we are looking forward to visiting with you and visiting with some coaches throughout the evening. Some games have gone final at this time, and we will get those to you as soon as they all become available, but we're working on that right now.
Makes me grateful just to know that I can be unique and
Yes,
fill a
the little
spot
staff
beside the
report.
other three.
Hey, if you're out there driving around in your car, wherever you may be listening to us, we certainly appreciate you being part of the show. We'll open up the chat box. You can go to Facebook and follow along. Chat with us there. You can chat with us on YouTube and Twitter. Twitter at Scoreboard Guy or at Missouri_sports. Get right to the scores. Here's they begin to come in here final, slowly but surely, and it's early and it's still warm. Still had some mandated water breaks going on this evening around the state of Missouri, but we'll get to the finals. Last night it was West Plains over Hillcrest 42-12. Going on tonight, we do have a final as Kickapoo falls short to Lebanon. They were hosting Lebanon. Lebanon kind of got out early and then didn't really look back. 34-0 was that final. Jefferson over Herculaneum, 35-0. That's a final. Seckman defeats Northwest Cedar Hill, 56-7. In the fourth quarter, Platte County over North Kansas City, 10-0. Gone final, Lee Summit North defeats Staley, 21-14. Liberty North has defeated Rockhurst 35-7 as they improve their season record to 2-1. Lutheran North 45-42 over Howe. Elsewhere in the fourth quarter, Lindbergh is on top of Fox 42-14. Kirkwood defeats Eureka 14-10. That has gone final. DeSmet, another final score. DeSmet defeats Chaminade 63-14. St. Pius X out of Kansas City defeats Cameron 49-8. In the fourth quarter, Fort Osage leads Belton 43-14. In the third quarter, last score Lafayette, St. Joe on top of Benton 14-6. Elsewhere in the fourth quarter, Oak Park on top of Grain Valley, 32-31. We're navigating here through the scores. Like I said, you're more than welcome to join us here, and you can chat with us here on our chat overlay, right on Restream, right on YouTube, and right on Facebook and Twitter. In the fourth quarter, as I said, Fort Osage on top of Belton 43-14. Lafayette, St. Joe on top of St. Joe Benton 14-6. Oak Park 32, Green Valley 31 in the fourth quarter. It has gone final. Worth County defeats North Andrew 54-16. Elsewhere, Oak Grove over Kansas City Center 45-0. Has gone final. Maryville shuts out Chillicothe 50-0. Cardinal Ritter gets a forfeit from Deschênes. So Cardinal Ritter wins via the forfeit. In the fourth quarter, Parkway North leads McClure 42-6. Bishop DeBerg defeats Afton 64-14. That's a final. Elsewhere, Nottoway Valley defeats East Atchison 44-22. Valley Catholic shuts out Fredericktown 58-0. Tipton now in the fourth quarter. This is likely gone final 54-0 over Cole Camp. In the fourth quarter, Timberland leads Vianney 14-0. Elsewhere in the fourth, Liberty shutting out Thayer 36-0. In the fourth quarter, Sullivan on top of Union 34-27. St. Francis Borgia in the fourth quarter, handling Stratford 42-7. Stockton shuts out Ash Grove 36-0. St. Genevieve defeats Orchard Farm 36-16 in the fourth quarter. Reed Spring on top of Catholic 26-0. Smithville in the fourth quarter leads Kearney 34-15. In the fourth quarter, Warrensburg on top of Smith Cotton. That game in the fourth quarter, they're 40-22 Warrensburg. At the half, last report, Kennett and Sykeston were tied at 14. Seneca shuts out Cassville 44-0. At half, Savannah laying waste to Kirksville 42-0. Have gone final in Salisbury as Lathrop defeats Salisbury 30-14. Elsewhere at Russellville, Diamond defeats Russellville 45-14. At last report, Glendale and Rolla were tied at 0. That can't be right. Elsewhere, Webb City. Webb City is defeating or leading Republic 42-21. That game in the fourth quarter. Central, Park Hills in the fourth quarter, 43-8 over Potosi. Sarcoxy defeats Pierce City 49-13. Park Hill in the fourth quarter leads Blue Springs South 35-27. In the fourth quarter, North Shelby 42-20 on top of Paris. Centralia defeats Palmyra 35-24. Pacific over St. Clair 40-27. See if we've got some more scores here. Warrenton defeats Owensville 42-7. Blair Oaks goes to 2-1 as they defeat Osage 56-14. Osceola at the half in 8-man football was leading Liberal 24-20. East Buchanan defeats North Platte 23-14. South Callaway over North Callaway 20-6. Mount Vernon in the fourth quarter shutting out Aurora 31-0. Nixa has defeated Carthage 34-28. Nixa went up 14-0 in that game in the first 3 minutes of that contest. Carthage went on a 21-0 run. Nixa tied it up, went ahead 28-21. Carthage tied it up, and then Nixa zone in the fourth quarter and holds on for the victory over Carthage. Ava defeats Mount Grove 38-14. Monroe City over Highland 30-14. That game in the fourth quarter. Moberly defeats Winfield 44-19. Lamar defeats Monette 40-7. McDonald County shuts out Logan Rogersville 16-0. We've reached out to McDonald County head coach Kellen Hoover to see if he can join the show. Odessa defeats Mexico 55-12. Polo over Maysville 37-24. At last report at the half, Marshall was leading Richmond 7-6. Elsewhere, final score, Wright City defeats Mark Twain 42-6. Adrian in the fourth quarter shutting out Lone Jack 50-0. Lee Summit West at the half was on top of Park Hill South 24-12. In the third quarter, Lafayette County ahead of Warsaw 21-19. As I mentioned, they have gone final. Lebanon shuts out Kickapoo 34-0 as they move to 3-0 in the conference. Bolivar defeats Parkview 42-0, or was leading 42-0, so they'll move to 3-0, and that's the two opponents for next week. Undefeated Lebanon Yellow Jackets and the Bolivar Liberators will go into that game 3-0. Rockbridge in the fourth quarter was leading Jefferson City 35-27. Joplin in the fourth quarter on top of Ozark 28-0. And just a quick thought here for you folks. Hey, before you put your head on your pillow tonight, put your knees on the floor. A football official in the Joplin Ozark game collapsed on the field. They were doing CPR as the health officials rushed to him. He was carted or taken away in an ambulance. So if you're the praying type, he could use a lot of your prayers tonight. I do not know his name, but God does. So final score elsewhere in 8-man football, Lockwood defeats Jasper 60-14. Marshfield in the third quarter, 49-28 on top of Hollister. That game just back and forth for the longest time, was tied at 21 in the first quarter. They've kind of put the brakes on the scoring a little bit, but Marshfield's still up by 3 touchdowns. That game has gone to the fourth quarter. Holt defeats Washington 28-17. Elsewhere, Capital City defeats Hickman 59-16. It's gone final at Hillsboro as they defeat Fort Zumwalt West 35-28. Elsewhere, it's gone final at Herman as Herman defeats St. James 29-20. Harrisburg on top of Marceline 28-20. That's a final. In the fourth quarter, Pleasant Hill leads Harrisonville 28-14. And the has gone final is Hannibal. Hangs on and they defeat Troy Buchanan 34-28. Elsewhere, final score, St. Pius, the 10th of Festus, defeats Grandview 46-14. Greenfield, this was kind of a matinee game, started at 5 o'clock today, so it got over early, but Greenfield defeats College Heights Christian 78-70. Yes, you heard that correct. South Harrison over Gallatin 28-26. That's a final. Westran in the fourth quarter leads Fulton 36-20. Last report at the half, Fort Zumwalt South leads Howell Central 24-14. Fort Zumwalt North, and this is a first quarter score, 42-3 at the end of the first quarter. So that game likely has gone final, but they have not reported the final there. Elsewhere, Father Tolton defeats Louisiana 48-21. In the fourth quarter, Fayette on top of Scotland County 36-35. Gone final at Eldon as Eldon defeats Gateway 52-0. Last report at the half, Jackson leading Farmington 42-24. Lincoln in the third quarter, last report, trailing Crest Ridge 20-8. It's gone final in Cuba, Missouri. The Miller Cardinals traveled to Cuba and they win 41-8. It's also gone final. Clark County defeats Macon 51-0. Poplar Bluff in the fourth quarter leads Cape Central 28-21. Kelly defeats Chaffee 24-14. Donovan forfeits to Caruthersville. Camdenton, it has gone final. Camdenton defeats Waynesville 52-28. Carl Junction hangs on and they defeat Neosho 32-24. It's gone final at Butler. Butler defeats Versailles 42-20. And in the fourth quarter in California, Southern Boone and California, the Pintos, all tied at 20. In the fourth quarter, South Shelby leads Brookfield 51-6. In the fourth quarter, in second overtime, this game has gone to overtime. El Dorado Springs and Buffalo tied at 20. In the fourth quarter, Booneville leads Hallsville 42-32. Bowling Green in the fourth quarter on top of Lutheran 57-26. In the fourth quarter, Bishop LeBlanc leads Knox County 42-28. Oh, it has gone final. Bolivar has defeated Parkview 48-0. Elsewhere, Helias shuts out Battle 41-0. That's a final. In the fourth quarter, Crystal City on top of Bayless 30-6. Elsewhere in the fourth quarter, Albany leads St. Joe Christian 52-34. Final score from St. Mary's South side as they defeat Waterloo 30-23. in the fourth quarter, St. Dominic on top of Mascoutah, and Illinois. It's a high school from Illinois, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. 35-14. It's gone final. Edwardsville, Illinois defeats Soldan 47-6. CBC over SLU 49-14. Another final, high-scoring game here in the 8-man football. Plattsburgh Tigers defeat Schuyler County 86-56. Final from last night, Oakville over Webster Groves 35-24. West Plains defeats Hillcrest 45-12. We will take a brief time out here. You're listening to Friday Night Live on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Back after this.
The qualities in a truck that are most important are reliability, just really great function.
Having a truck is pretty much a necessity to getting to most of these locations. Oftentimes it's narrow, steep, loose, rough, rocky roads.
Having a truck is essential to every part of what we do, from picking up material for the home to delivering the home.
Always carrying something, pulling something.
It's something that we use every single day here.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
Only Pizza Ranch serves buffet your way.
Don't you mean my way, Mr. Voiceover Guy?
Sure, anyone's way, actually. Request your favorite pizza. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the first slice.
I can add peppers to pepperoni, Stampede on stuffed crust, maybe Texan taco on thin. No tomatoes on my half. How can I convince Mom to let us eat here every night?
It's buffet your way at Pizza Ranch. Say it with me, kid.
Not only is Country Financial our insurance, but they treated us like family.
Relationships are the single most important piece of the puzzle. We always ask this question: what is the right thing to do?
Hey, welcome back to Friday Night Live on the Missouri Sports Network. Certainly glad that you've tuned in. As always, brought to you by Lyona Laborers Local 663, sponsoring our team of the week. Our team of the week this week was the Nixa Cross Country team on the boys' side as they win the Southwest Cross Country Coaches Association Richard Clark meet that was held in Bolivar, one of the biggest meets of the year. You can go to our YouTube page or MissouriSportsNetwork.com and see that interview. Also, our male athlete of the week from Bishop DeBerg, soccer, Austin Bergman. 8 goals last week, and he topped it off with another overtime goal to win a game over Deshaun here earlier this week. We've reached out to several coaches in the area, including Jamie LaSalle from Bolivar, Jeff Geschwender, coach at Hannibal, Will Christian from Lebanon, and McDonald County head coach Kellen Hoover. We've reached out to see if they can be part of the show tonight. We'll also reach out to Andy Learman at Liberty North and see if we can get him to be part of the show. So if you're sitting next to him, hey, tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, you need to call the Scoreboard Show. Anyway, we're certainly glad that you have tuned in tonight here, and probably in your vehicle right now. Maybe you're at home. If you're in your vehicle, hey, take that 3 seconds, look around your car, make sure everybody's buckled up. They're in your car. Obviously, you care about them. Takes 3 seconds, and it could save your life. Crest Ridge on top of Lincoln, 42-8. That game in the fourth quarter. It has gone final as Webb City defeats Republic 42-21. Webb City now 2-1, and they host Joplin next week. Joplin gets a win over Ozark, I believe, tonight. I think that game has gone final. And again, hey, thoughts and prayers for the football referee that collapsed on the field at Jung Field there at Joplin. Not sure the outcome there, but hey, take a few seconds here and send up some prayers for that gentleman. We'll run through and see if any of the scores have been updated at any of the websites right now. It is 9:55. And as we look around, the score at last report, it has gone final as Lamar defeats Monette 40-7. Seneca has defeated Cassville 44-0. Kabul defeats Willow Springs 66-6. Nevada over East Newton 47-19. That's gone final. Mount Vernon shuts out Aurora in the annual Bell Bowl 38-0. Lebanon also shuts out Kickapoo 34-0. Bolivar over Parkview 48-0. Joplin defeats Ozark 28-0. Ava defeats Mountain Grove 38-14. Carl Junction over Neosho 32-24. Willard gets another win over Branson 21-6. Willard 2-1 on the season. McDonald County, as I mentioned, 16-0 over Rogersville. West Plains defeats Hillcrest, that game from last night, 45-12. Camden's in a final over Waynesville 52-14. Breach Spring defeats Catholic 47-0. And at last report, Marshfield and Hollister still in the fourth quarter, 49-28. Fair Grove blanks Skyline 68-0. Liberty over Thayer 36-16. That's gone final. Houston defeats Salem 41-13. Stockton shuts out Ash Grove 36-0. Sarcoxy defeats Pierce City 49-13. Lockwood over Jasper 60-14. Greenfield over College Heights 78-70. I'm sure we're hooking our phone lines up here. We're expecting a call any time now. And we will look at some of the other scores here this evening. Certainly glad that you've tuned in here. We're coming to you live from the Bambino's Cafe. Don't forget about the Quarterback Club. We'll meet every Monday. That's not a holiday. Every Monday at Bambino's Italian Cafe at Battlefield and Lone Pine. Also presented by Doak Propane. Doak Propane for all your propane needs. See the folks at Doak, and especially in Polk County and surrounding counties. See the folks at Doak Propane. Also presented by Central Bank. Central Bank of the Ozarks are one of our Quarterback Club sponsors. Central Bank of the Ozarks, and we'll run some commercials here for them as well throughout the episode here tonight. It's 10 o'clock here in Southwest. Well, it's 10 o'clock in all of Missouri. It's not just 10 o'clock here in Southwest Missouri. And we're looking tracking scores here. If you got scores, you can pull it up on our chat. You can send it to Scoreboard Guy on Twitter, or Missouri, or at Missouri_sports on Twitter as well. You can email Athletes of the Week to Missouri Sports Network at Missouri Sports Network. I'm sorry, Missouri Sports Network at gmail.com. I'll get it spit out here. I'll be all right. It is 10 o'clock. We'll take a quick time out. Actually, we're going to go through the scores here one more time as we're waiting Coach Andy Learman from Liberty North as they defeat Rockhurst tonight in a big game in the Kansas City area. Let's see here. Like I said, Lockwood over Jasper, 60-14. Houston in the fourth quarter is on top of Salem, 41-13. Joplin shuts out Ozark, 28-0. Rockbridge in the fourth quarter was leading Jeff City, 35-27. We welcome to the show head coach from Liberty North, Andy Learman. Coach Learman, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Guy, how you doing, buddy? Can you hear me okay? I'm on the school bus still.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you all right.
Okay.
Coach, you get a big win tonight over Rockhurst. Tell us a little bit about the game.
Yeah, the guys played real well tonight, Guy. I was extremely happy with the effort and the outcome of the game, obviously, but just more excited about how the kids executed our game plan tonight. I thought we came in with a really good game plan to execute both offensive and defensively, and our kids did a great job of doing that. So kudos to our kids, our assistant coaches for coming up and being sound with what we were doing, and everybody kind of getting their part done.
Coach, tell us about some of the kids offensively and maybe defensively that kind of stood out for you tonight.
Yeah, offensively, we did a great job of kind of mixing it up, running the football and throwing the football. Quarterback Timmer Martin played a really good game. We had a big emphasis on taking care of the football. This is Tillman's third start as a junior this year, stepping in and filling in some big shoes from the young man Sam Van Dine we had last year. And so Tillman's growing and doing a great job, and he did an excellent job tonight. Threw a couple touchdown passes, one to Keelan Smith, one to Jayshawn Ross, and on a couple big plays. And then we had a couple rushing touchdowns with a couple of running backs with Corey Love and Michael Joe Barnett. And so this really came out and executed in all phases offensively. Our offensive line held up in pass protection and ran the ball when we needed to, and kind of took care of their front 6 or 7. And I'm just super impressed with how we executed offensively. Defensively, we just played lights out for about the second week in a row. We've got the same kind of thing, offense and defense. We've got some super talented kids that have played a lot, and we've got to mix the kids that it's their first year playing. And so, we had a little hiccup week 1. We had to give up a couple plays, although I thought we played pretty well. Last week we did excellent defensively against Liberty, and then we came out tonight and just played great team defense. I don't know that I can give you any particular kids that just played lights out, because I think they all did. We held those guys to 7 points, and they scored 7 on a short field from a missed kick that we made on a kickoff. They gave them a short field, and they kind of moved the ball down and scored. And our kids just played really, really well defensively.
Coach, and it's, obviously it's, big question is, did you come out of tonight relatively healthy other than just some bumps and bruises?
Yeah, we did actually, which is awesome. You get a big win like that against a great team in Rockhurst and Coach Donahoe and those guys, and you're healthy and you feel good. And so it'll be good. We can get back to work with everybody next week and get prepared to get back into the groove of things again. We
are at Park Hill South a week from tonight. Tell us a little bit about what you know about them going into that matchup. And I know you've still got to watch film tonight on your guys, but what do you know about Park Hill?
I know they got a new coach guy this year, and I know they gave Lee Summit North all they could handle last week. I don't know if they won or lost tonight. We played them the last couple of years, obviously, and they've been super talented. I think they've got some guys again this year that are pretty darn good football players. And so I've been so honed in on Rockhurst, I don't really know what they do offensively or defensively, but we're going to find out this weekend and put together a good game plan and hopefully come up with another win next week.
Well, last report, Park Hill South was trailing Lee Summit West 24-12, but that was a third quarter score, so I don't have a final yet.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll find out here shortly. And every game in the Suburban Conference, guys, is tough and physical, and we're going to have to just kind of get ready. Right now we get everybody's best shot, and our kids understand that, and they're up for the challenge, and they know what our end goal is, and so we just gotta keep working for that 1 week at a time, and then focus on what we can control and do all those things that coaches always say, right?
You bet. Well, Coach Lehrman, I certainly appreciate you being generous with your time here tonight on Friday Night Live here on the Missouri High School. On the Missouri Sports Network, and safe travels to get home, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
You bet. Andy Lehrman, Liberty North head football coach, kind enough to join us here on Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. And for some reason, I'm running the wrong scroll across the bottom of the screen. If you're watching, it says Missouri High School Game Day. But it is not. It's Friday Night Live, and I'll tell you what we're going to do right now. We're going to take a quick timeout, come back, and we'll run through the scores as we get them coming in now. It's 10:05 here on the Missouri Sports Network on high school Friday Night Football, Friday Night Live. Back after this.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
It means the world to me to have a job where I can help farmers. That's what I want to do, is be here for them.
Alan became a counselor in a rough time. He just has a feeling for what we as farmers are going through.
I learned that there's not a given in life. It takes a team, not only us, but Country Financial. And I've learned that there's people that also are going to watch out for us and that care.
Everyone thinks their mom makes the crispiest, juiciest, best chicken ever.
No way. The country's best chicken comes from Pizza Ranch.
Hot and ready on the buffet, it's always available, along with your favorite comfort foods, like mashed potatoes and gravy.
Which are never lumpy, like my mom's potatoes.
Sorry, Mom. The country's best chicken, along with mashed potatoes and gravy, are always found on the buffet at Pizza Ranch.
The innocence of youth. Is there anything any better? But soon they'll be in high school and facing all the same challenges you faced. How to make friends, how to fit in, how to be cool. We want our children to have everything they'll need to live fulfilling and productive lives. Make sure the kids in your family are among the more than 290,000 participants here in Missouri who take part in high school sports or activities.
Welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network. We'll run through the scores as we've got them right now, the finals, anyhow, that we have at this time. And we'll update you on anything else that we get as it's coming in across the Twitter ticker. Finals, well, in the fourth quarter, Tipton leads Cold Camp 54-0. Final score from last night, West Plains defeats Hillcrest 45-12. Final from tonight, Mid-Buchanan over West Platte, 62-25. Jefferson shuts out Herculaneum 35-0. It was Seckman over at Northwest Cedar Hill, 56-7. Elsewhere, a final, Liberty 29-27 over North Point out of Wentzville, Missouri. New high school there. Stanberry defeats King City 38-16. Lee Summit North defeats Staley 21-14. Liberty over at the half, they were leading Raypeck 21-7. That game has gone final. It was on right behind me, and now it's not. So it has gone final. I'm not quite sure what that is. Liberty North over Rockhurst 35-7. Elsewhere, final score, Marquette defeats Hazelwood Central 24-7. Lutheran North over Howell 45-42. That has gone final. And in the fourth quarter, Lindbergh was leading Fox 42-14. Elsewhere, final score, Kirkwood defeats Eureka 14-10. DeSmet all over Chaminade 63-14. St. Pius X out of Kansas City over Cameron 49-8. Elsewhere, Fort Osage leading in the fourth quarter over Belton 43-14. Lafayette defeats St. Joe Benton 26-14. Final, Oak Park over Grain Valley 32-31. Worth County defeats North Andrew 56-14. Platte Valley over Mound City 60-36. That's gone final as well. Concordia defeats Oric 36-14. Oak Grove shuts out Kansas City Center 45-0. Chillicothe falls to Maryville 50-0. Grandview shutting out Raytown South 40-0. Truman at last report shutting out Southeast out of Kansas City 14-0. Fort Scott defeats Central out of Springfield. Fort Scott, Kansas defeats Central 42-12. Rockwood Summit over Parkway Central 49-7. At last report, Parkway North leading McClure 42-6. Has gone final. Willard goes to 2-1 as they defeat Branson 21-6. Bishop DeBerg over Afton 64-24. Willow Springs falls to Kabul 66-6. Final score, Nottoway Valley defeating East Atchison 44-22. Final score, Valley Catholic over Fredericktown 58-0. Tipton shuts out Colcamp 54-0. Timberland over Vianney 28-7. Liberty defeats Thayer 36-16. It was 34-27. Sullivan over Union. Elsewhere, Stockton shuts out Ash Grove 36-0. Rockport over Stewartsville 70-18. St. Genevieve over Orchard Farm 36-16. St. Vincent defeats Perryville 49-7. Reed Spring shuts out Springfield Catholic 47-0. With Smithville over Kearney 34-15. Warrensburg defeats Smith Cotton 47-22. Fair Grove shuts out Skyline 68-0. Seneca over Cassville 44-0. Southwest out of Ludlow, Missouri, they defeat Santa Fe 56-14. Elsewhere, Diamond defeats Russellville 45-15. Glendale has gone final 21-20 over Rolla. Elsewhere, Webb City defeats Republic 42-21. It was Park Hills Central 43-8 over Potosi. Sarcoxy defeats Pierce City 49-13. Princeton on top of our defeats. Well, it's not over yet. Princeton leading Pattonsburg 60-34. Elsewhere, last report, Park Hill on top of Blue Springs South 35-27. North Shelby defeats Paris 56-28. Centralia over Palmyra 35-24. Pacific defeats St. Clair 40-27. Elsewhere, final score, Warrenton over Owensville 42-7. Blair Oaks defeats Osage 56-14. Osceola defeats Liberal 56-40. Elsewhere, final score, St. Paul out of Concordia. They defeat Northwest 51-36. East Buchanan defeats North Platte 23-14. South Callaway over North Callaway 20-6. Mount Vernon shuts out Aurora in the Bell Bowl 38-0. Nixa hangs on and defeats Carthage 34-28. Nixa scored 14 points in the first 3 minutes of that game. 2 long runs in that contest. And before they got to the 9-minute mark, Nixa led Carthage 14-0. Carthage went on a 21-0 run to take the lead. Then it was back and forth from there. Ava defeats Mount Grove 38-14. Monroe City over Highland 30-14. Moberly defeats Winfield 4-19. Monette 40-7. It was McDonald County shutting out Logan Rogersville 16-0. Odessa defeats Mexico 55-12. Polo over Maysville 37-24. Wright City defeats Mark Twain 42-6. Priory over Lutheran South 36-20. And at last report, still no update. Lee Summit West leading Park Hill South 24-12. Final score, Penny defeats Lawson 30-27. At last report, Lafayette County leading Warsaw 21-19. Final score, Lebanon moves to 3-0 as they shut out Kickapoo 34-0. Rockbridge in the fourth quarter leads Jefferson City 35-27. It is final in Joplin. Joplin defeats Ozark 28-0. Houston defeats Salem 41-13. Lockwood, the Tigers over the Jasper Eagles 60-14. Marshfield at last report 49-28 on top of on top of Hollister. Holt, it has gone final. Holt defeats Washington 28-17. Elsewhere, final score, Capital City goes to Hickman and wins 59-16. Hillsboro defeats Fort Zumwalt West 35-28. Elsewhere, final in Herman as Herman defeats St. James 29-20. Harrisburg, final score, Harrisburg defeats Marceline 28-20. Final score from Harrisonville, Pleasant Hill defeats Harrisonville 28-14. Final score to Hannibal's. Hannibal defeats Troy Buchanan 34-28. We did get a note back from Hannibal head coach Jeff Geschwender that he'll be calling in as soon as he gets to where he can get a signal. St. Pius the 10th out of Festus defeats Grandview 46-14. Greenfield in 8-man action defeats College Heights Christian 78-70. South Harrison over Gallatin 28-26. Westran hangs on. They defeat Fulton 36-20. At last report, late in the game, Fort Zumwalt South leading Howell Central 31-28. Final scores, Father Tolton defeats Louisiana 48-21. And a final from Scotland County, Memphis, Missouri. Fayette defeats Scotland County 36-35. Jackson on top of Farmington 42-24. Final in East Newton as Nevada goes to East Newton, wins 47-19. Appleton City over Drexel 72-52. South Holt defeats DeKalb 69-6. Last report, Crestridge leading Lincoln 20-8. Final score from Cuba. The Miller Cardinals go to Cuba, win 41-28. Northland Christian out of Kansas City defeats Cornerstone Family Schools 32-14. Clark County shuts out Macon 51-0. In the fourth quarter, it's Poplar Bluff on top of Cape Central 28-21. Kelly defeats Chaffee 24-14. Final score, Camdenton defeats Waynesville 52-28. Elsewhere, a final in the COC is Carl Junction knocks off Neosho 32-24. Butler defeats Versailles 42-22. California falls at home to Southern Boone 27-20. Last report, South Shelby on top of Brookfield 51-6. Final in double overtime as Buffalo defeats El Dorado Springs 32-26. Final from Bowling Green. Bowling Green defeats Lutheran 57-26. Final score, Bishop LeBlanc on top of Knox County 56-22. Bolivar shuts out Parkview 48-0. Bolivar 3-0. Elias also 3-0. They shut out Battle 41-0. Crystal City on top of, final score. Crystal City defeats Bayless 55-22. Final score in 8-man football. The high water point of the night, Archie defeats Rich Hill 94-16. Elsewhere, Albany defeats St. Joe Christian 58-48. St. Mary's defeats Waterloo, Illinois 30-23. In last report, St. Dominic on top of Mascoutah 35-14. Edwardsville defeats Soldan 47-6. Final score, CBC defeats SLU 49-14. Plattsburgh on top of defeats Schuyler County 86-56. Oakville defeats Webster Groves 35-24. And West Plains, as I mentioned, West Plains last night defeats Hillcrest 45-12. That's your scoreboard from tonight. We'll check on some stuff at the Misha.org website and see if we can get some scores there as we update that from Class 5 and Class 6 football scores tonight. Forsyth, just gone final. Forsyth defeats Clever 55-0. So Forsyth 55, Clever nothing. In those games, or that game tonight, and I believe that was at Clever. Look at week 3 here. Albany over St. Joseph 58-48. Other scores here, and they haven't got everything updated. Bowling Green 57-26. And we'll check back. We'll refresh that and check back. We'll take a quick timeout. You're listening to and maybe watching Friday Night Live Football Scoreboard Show here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And we will be back after these messages.
The qualities in a truck that are most important are reliability, just really great function.
Having a truck is pretty much a necessity to getting to most of these locations. Oftentimes it's narrow, steep, loose, rough, rocky roads.
Having a truck is essential to every part of what we do, from picking up material for the home to delivering the home.
Always carrying something, pulling something.
It's something that we use every single day here.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
Only Pizza Ranch serves buffet your way.
Don't you mean my way, Mr. Voiceover Guy?
Sure, anyone's way, actually. Request your favorite pizza. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the first slice.
I can add peppers to pepperoni, Stampede on stuffed crust, maybe Texan taco on thin. No tomatoes on my half. How can I convince Mom to let us eat here every night?
It's buffet your way at Pizza Ranch. Say it with me, kid.
Not only is Country Financial our insurance, but they treated us like family.
Relationships are the single most important piece of the puzzle. We always ask this question: what is the right thing to do?
Hey, welcome back to the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. We'll run through some of the 8-man scores. You can go to scoreboardguy.net. First off, Thursday night's games. It was West Plains over Hillcrest 46-12. Oakville defeats Webster Groves 35-24. And elsewhere in 8-man football from tonight, it was Albany over St. Joe Christian. And before we get to that, we welcome to the show. He was on last week from Alan Hilliard Sports. Alan Hilliard. Alan, what's going on?
I just got leaving Camdenton here. It was a pretty good football game, but ultimately it was all Camdenton.
Yeah, Camdenton gets a big win there as they defeat Waynesville in that contest. Tell us a little bit about the game. I know they got out early and then just kind of rolled, I think, in the second half. And Camdenton is the Camdenton of old.
Yep, Camdenton, they came out, like you said, they came out early and, 2 touchdowns in the first gave them a 14-0 lead. They'd score again in the second just with 3.5 minutes to go. Waynesville scored 3.5 minutes ago. Camdenton picked up another touchdown and capped the first half off with a field goal, and the rest of the game after the third quarter essentially was a lot of kids getting some playing time, but Tao Ossie and Kelsey Jr. for Waynesville really performed well running the ball. And then Durham, their quarterback for Camdenton, great arm on him, great performance overall.
Yeah, I believe he had maybe 3 touchdowns to his brother.
Yes. His brother was a very integral part of his offense, but also 2 other receivers also were part of touchdowns.
Yeah, any scores, and I know you were kind of broadcasting that game, but any scores kind of jump out at you? I was looking at obviously the Kickapoo Lebanon score and Lebanon just kind of rolls.
Yep, I think I would have expected that to be closer, but I kind of expected 11 victory out of that. The other one that I was watching was kind of close was the Nixa ball game a little bit. That was closer than what I kind of thought that would be.
Yeah, Nixa jumped out. They scored 2 touchdowns before they hit the 9-minute mark of the first quarter, and then they went kind of scoreless there, and Carthage kind of took over. They're going in at the half. They were up 21-14, scored 21 unanswered points. But, that game, that did surprise me a little bit. Not that Nixa won, but that it was as close as it was with, Carthage coming into that contest 0-2, after losing last week to Branson. And what about Willard? Willard, they jump up and they beat Branson 21-6 tonight. And that was obviously a good game there. But the COC kind of the teams at the bottom, when you think of the COC, Branson's kind of struggled. Willard has struggled recently, but they're both playing pretty well right now. So it's going to be an interesting week, I guess season in the Ozark Conference. Of Joplin comes out, they get the shutout win over Ozark tonight. Webb City goes in, and that score kind of surprised me a little bit too, as they kind of handle Republic 42-21. And the last time they played was in the district finals a year ago, where Republic defeated Webb City. Webb City coming in 1-1 to tonight's game, and Republic 2-0. So that score surprised me a little bit as well.
Oh, absolutely. The COC, it's one of the strongest conferences for football. There's really the bottom team of that conference could compete in the Ozark Conference or any of these other suburban conferences around Missouri, I think.
So next week, probably the big game in the Ozark Conference is undefeated Bolivar at 3-0 going to an undefeated Lebanon at 3-0, and that's likely going to maybe decide the outcome. I think Kickapoo still has a chance to play their way back in it, especially if Bolivar happens to get Lebanon, because Kickapoo and Bolivar have yet to play. And that was a Bolivar team that last year, with regards to Kickapoo, had them beat. Now they've got a new coach and a new offense, obviously, putting up the amount of points that they are. But, that's probably the big game of the week next week in the Ozark Conference.
Oh, I completely agree there. Bolivar is they're becoming a Cinderella team this year. I don't think a lot of people expected a 3-0 start, and they could finish with maybe one loss in conference play, maybe two at the worst at the rate they're going here. But they could, if they pull off a big upset over Lebanon or one of these other teams, that could really shuffle the cards quite a bit.
Well, they're ranked in the top 10 in Class 4 for the first time in a couple of years, and you may have to go back to Lance Roten the last time that they were ranked in the top 10 in the state Class 4. But Bolivar's playing well. I tell you, another game that kind of surprised me was McDonald County shutting out Logan Rogersville in the Big 8 matchup. There's a play across as Logan Rogersville goes to McDonald County. McDonald County team that was 1-1 coming into tonight's contest, having lost to Mount Vernon, in week 1. I know Mount Vernon's got Logan Rogersville next week, but they've got to feel good about that, knowing that they beat McDonald County. McDonald County shuts out Logan Rogersville.
Yeah, again, another group of teams down there that very strong teams. I mean, football is week to week with some of these teams. You could have an upset victory, and then you go play a team that you would think should be a pretty easy win, and you either have a close game or you lose by a narrow margin on some of these conferences. Some of them are that close, the athletic difference.
They have been indeed. Well, Alan, I tell you what, you have safe travel. You may be back home already because you were close to home calling that game, but you definitely have some safe travels and maybe reach back in at the end of the show once you kind of get settled in. You've kind of had time to put your thoughts together, and maybe we'll visit again. We're expecting to hear from Hannibal head coach Jeff Geschwender here at 10:35. So looking forward to that conversation as they get a big win tonight. Hannibal does. And we'll visit with him. We've reached out to Bolivar's head coach, Jamie LaSalle, as well as Lebanon's head coach, Will Christian. So we'll see if we can get those guys on. But, Alan, I appreciate you being part of the show. And who do you got next week?
Next week is Waynesville has 2 home games in a row. They have Kickapoo and Lebanon. So it's pretty stout teams coming to Waynesville the next couple of weeks. My next broadcast itself will be the 29th. It's either Rolla or Hillcrest. I forgot which one. I think it's Hillcrest.
Very good. Well, Alan Hilliard Sports for all that information. You want to follow along and read some of the pregame or postgame stories or watch some games live, AlanHilliardSports.com. Alan, thanks so much.
All right. I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye.
All right. Alan Hilliard from Alan Hilliard Sports. And we're texting back and forth with Coach Geschwender at Hannibal as they get a win tonight. And we'll jump up and kind of pull up some stuff there. But Oh, I'm sorry. Somehow I hit my voice tweet, so I'm sending Coach Geschwinder a long voice message. So I've got to make sure I delete that before it goes out to him. My apologies here, but Coach Jeff Geschwinder joining us here in just a couple of minutes here from Hannibal High School, and they get a victory tonight, and we'll see if we can't get him on the line. And I apologize. I've got 8 different screens open right now and 2 TVs on behind me and a laptop to my left playing the Statler brothers. So you just have to bear with us here as we try and pull up stuff. But they get a win tonight over Troy Buchanan at home, 34-28. Therefore, Coach Jeff Geschwinder, they've got Fulton, who's I don't have a final from them, but they are 0-2 going into tonight's game. So back-to-back wins over Jeff City and Troy Buchanan for Hannibal. And we'll pull up here run through the 8-man scores here, but here's Coach Jeff Geschwinder kind enough to join us now. And we welcome to the show Hannibal Pirates head coach Jeff Geschwinder. Coach, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, no problem.
Big win tonight over Troy Buchanan. Big back-to-back wins. Last week you get Jeff City and then Troy tonight. Tell us about your game plan coming in tonight against a good Troy Buchanan team.
Tonight, we really thought we were going to be able to run the ball between the tackles, but we expected them to, really adjust to that. With the defense they have, it's kind of more built to beat spread teams. We thought we'd be able to run the ball in the box quite a bit. And they really, they just made some minor adjustments and we're still able to run the ball. And we just had to get down and dirty. And we pretty much stayed in our split back veer and just played some old school football. I mean, we only threw the ball a few times. But I was just really proud of our kids, Troy made some great plays. They're extremely well coached. We made some good plays and some bad plays, and our kids just kept their head up and kept fighting. I was really proud of them.
Yeah, you get down to the end there. It's a 6-point game. Tell us kind of how that fourth quarter went and how you kept them out of the end zone.
We got up a score on them, or got up 2 scores on them. They were able to score on us, and then we got a stop with about 7 minutes to go. And we felt really good because they were having a hard time stopping our split back stuff. We used about 6 minutes drive and got down to about the 15-yard line and stalled and left about a little over a minute. I was really hoping we could off with a score, but they made some big time adjustments. They filled the box big time and stopped us down there, and they got the ball and really drove the field. And then we made a couple really big plays at the end that put them in a 3rd and 4th down and long. And, really it's hats off to our defense for stepping up because they took that ball from our 20-yard line and went down to about took the ball from their 20-yard line and went down to about our 20 or 15-yard line, with just under 20 seconds to go, and we made a couple of big plays and got the time ran out. So, our defense did a great job of stepping up when we needed to make some big plays. I was happy with our offense in that fourth quarter for using the clock the way we did and getting first downs. I just wish we could have finished that last drive off.
Coach, tell us about some of the kids that really stood out tonight for the Pirates.
It was really our offensive line and our 2 running backs, Mike Ferrer and Aeneas Williams. We handed the ball off 78 times tonight. That's the most we've ever handed off in school history, and that's from a school that's run split back veer for 100 years. So, they handled the load, and they were getting 4, 5, 6 yards a pop. Our line just got down and dirty and got gritty with it, and we just kept churning out first down. So, it was really all about our running backs and our offensive line. And then, again, like I said, when big plays needed to be made on defense, Trey Hoskins stepped up and had a huge sack. We had some good pass breakups from our D-backs. It was a hard-fought win, and it was a really great win for our kids. They really needed that.
And again, we're visiting with Jeff Geschwinder, the head football coach at Hannibal. Class 4, District 4, 2-1 on the season, a 34-28 win over Troy Buchanan tonight. And Coach, big question here going, you're a third of the way through the season. Did you come out of tonight's game relatively healthy?
I mean, yeah, the kids that were played were healthy, but we're still down about 3 or 4 kids from before. So, we're piecing stuff together with some sophomore kids. We had a couple freshmen out there on defense a few times. We had to move a lineman to tight end. But the kids have responded very well, and they've really bought into the fact of just taking what and just play each down as a separate down, and when they make adjustments, they give us. It was we did come out healthy with the kids that were on the field, but as a whole team in general, we're still not very healthy. We're still missing about 3 two-way starters and some pretty good ones too.
Well, next week you've got you host Fulton. What do you know about Fulton, and what are going to be the challenges there in that game?
I really do not know. I have not seen them. We've spent all of our time on Troy this week, and really, as soon as I get off the phone with you, it's going to be Fulton time. So I really don't know. They always have good athletes. They usually just struggle up front a little bit, but they're very well coached, and their coach knows what to do, and they've got the athletes to be able to put together some good stuff. So I'm anxious to see what they got this year, but I really have not looked at them at all until now.
All right. Well, very good. And Coach Geschwender, I certainly appreciate you being part of the show. I know it was kind of short notice, but that's how the football scoreboard show runs. We don't know who's going to win until the game's over, but we appreciate you getting on the line with us and telling a little bit about the Pirates.
Yep, no problem. I appreciate you having me.
You bet. Thanks, Coach. Have a great night.
Thanks, Guy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Coach Jeff Geschwender there from Hannibal's. They get a win tonight. They got Fulton next week, and I believe Westran defeated Fulton. Great game tonight with Class 6 Oak Park and Class 5 number 2 Grain Valley. Oak Park wins 32-31 at Grain Valley tonight. So that's coming from our producer. I didn't know that. He just sends me a little note here on our private chat. And you want to chat, you want to be part of the show, you can go to our chat overlay. You can go to Twitter. You can also go to Facebook. There's places there where you can chat online, and we'll try and get these interviews that we've done tonight kind of broken up and get those back out tomorrow. Just another mention here, high school softball. Final scores, Wheatland defeats Leeton 14-10. So that game just coming in, and we certainly appreciate folks keeping us up to date. Check Twitter. You can send anything you want to us at Scoreboard Guy on Twitter. You can also send it to @Missouri_sports, and be sure to tag us in all of the scores, updates, and if you have an athlete of the week nomination, male or female, you can email that to MissouriSportsNetwork@gmail.com. And you can also send us a note just on Twitter if you would like. You can, I believe most folks can direct message us. So Joplin football 28-0. That was their homecoming. I have not seen any update on the football referee that went down tonight, and we will we'll check and see if we can't reach out to some folks that were at the game and kind of leave us an idea. And not sure that I'm going to find any kind of update here, but hey, folks, before you put your knees or your head on the pillow tonight, put your knees on the floor and say a prayer for the gentleman. There was about a half an hour delay in the game. And then when the officials came out, the officials that remained came out, there was a standing ovation from both sidelines and both sides of the bleachers as those guys came out and finished that game tonight. Again, you can chat with us here on Facebook or Twitter here at Missouri Sports Network on Facebook, and Missouri Sports Network and on Twitter, and and Scoreboard Guy on Twitter. We're going to step away, take a real quick timeout. We'll come back and we'll run through the scores one more time, and maybe we'll get some coaches to be part of the show. We appreciate everyone being part of the show tonight. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Be safe, be smart, and be here tomorrow. And we'll be right back on the Missouri Sports Network.
The qualities in a truck that are most important are reliability, just really great function.
Having a truck is pretty much a necessity to getting to most of these locations. Oftentimes it's narrow, steep, loose, rough, rocky roads.
Having a truck is essential to every part of what we do, from picking up material for the home to delivering the home.
Always carrying something, pulling something.
It's something that we use every single day here.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
Only Pizza Ranch serves buffet your way.
Don't you mean my way, Mr. Voiceover Guy?
Sure, anyone's way, actually. Request your favorite pizza. We'll make it, bake it, and give you the first slice.
I can add peppers to pepperoni, Stampede on stuffed crust, maybe Texan taco on thin. No tomatoes on my half. How can I convince Mom to let us eat here every night?
It's buffet your way at Pizza Ranch. Say it with me, kid.
Not only is Country Financial our insurance, but they treated us like family.
Relationships are the single most important piece of the puzzle. We always ask this question: what is the right thing to do?
Welcome back to Friday Night Live here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Going to run through the scores as they have now appeared, some of them at Misha, but first we'll go to scoreboardguy.net. We've got a lot of the 8-man scores up. First from last night, West Plains defeats Hillcrest 46-12. It was Oakville over Webster Groves 35-24. In 8-man football tonight, it was Albany over St. Joe Christian 58-48. Archie defeats Rich Hill 94-16. Bishop LeBlond over Knox County 56-22. Concordia defeats Oric 36-14. Northland Christian over Cornerstone Family 32-14. Appleton City over Drexel 72-52. Greenfield defeats College Heights 78-70. Hardin Central over Slater 70-34. Lockwood defeats Jasper 60-36. Stanberry over King City 38-16. South Nottoway defeats Mound City 60-36. Osceola over Liberal 56-40. North Shelby defeats Paris 56-28. And Rockport over Stewartsville 70-18. Bramer 84-68 over Sweet Springs. Scores brought to you by Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks sponsoring our male and female athletes week each week throughout the school year. Chevy Dealers of the Ozarks. Find new roads. Elsewhere, And we'll run through these scores one more time here as we're about to wrap it up for the evening. Mid-Buchanan over West Platte 62-25. Jefferson shuts out Herculaneum 35-0. Seckman over Northwest Cedar Hill 56-7. Liberty 2 points better than North Point 29-27. Stanberry over King City 38-16. Lee Summit North defeats Staley 21-14. Liberty North 35-7 over Rockhurst. It was Marquette over Hazelwood Central 24-7. Lutheran North 45-42 over Howe. Lindbergh 42-14 over Fox, and that was that last report. I do not have a final. Final score from Kirkwood. Kirkwood defeats Eureka 14-10. Final score in Jennings. Clayton defeats Jennings 37-6. Ellsworth de Smet defeats Chaminade 63-14. Central St. Joe over Raytown 36-32. Final score from St. Pius, Kansas. They defeat Cameron 49-8. Belton over Fort Osage. Fort Osage over Belton 43. St. Joe Bend 26-14. Oak Park over Grain Valley 32-31. Worth County defeats North Andrew 56-14. Platte Valley over Mound City 60-36. Concordia defeats Oric 36-14. Edwardsville over Sumner 47-6. Hey, be sure to join us on Mondays at 11:30 for the Springfield Area Quarterback Club at Bambino's Italian Cafe at Battlefield, East Battlefield, and Lone Pine. We'll run through maybe some of the guests that come in throughout the fall. Edwardsville, Illinois defeats Sumner 47-6. Oak Grove shuts out Kansas City Center 45-0. Maryville shuts out Chillicothe 50-0. Grandview over Raytown South 40-0. Fort Scott, Kansas defeats Springfield Central 42-12. Rockwood Summit over Parkway Central 49-7. Willard defeats Branson 21-6. Bishop DeBerg over Afton 64-24. Cabool 66, Willow Springs 6. Nottoway Valley over East Atchison 44-22. Valley Catholic shuts out Fredericktown 58-0. Trenton over Kansas City, or KIPP, Kansas City 36-14. Tipton shuts out Cole Camp 54-0. Timberland over Vianney 28-7. Mountain View Liberty defeats Thayer 36-16. Sullivan defeats Union 34-27. St. Francis Borgia defeats Stratford 42-7. Stockton over Ash Grove 36-0. Rockport defeats Stewartsville 70-18. St. Genevieve Valley over Orchard Farm 36-16. St. Vincent defeats Perryville 49-7. Reed Springs shuts out Springfield Catholic 47-0. Smithville over Kearney 41-21. Warrensburg defeats Smith Cotton 47-22. Fairgrove shuts out Skyline 68-0. Seneca shuts out Cassville 44-0. Southwest defeats Santa Fe 56-14. Elsewhere, Lathrop defeats Salisbury 30-14. Diamond over Russellville 45-15. Glendale outlasts Rolla 21-20. Webb City defeats Republic 42-21. Sarcoxia over Pierce City 49-13. Princeton defeats Pattonsburg 60-34. Park Hill over Blue Springs South 35-33. North Shelby defeats Paris 56-28. Centralia over Palmyra 35-24. Pacific defeats St. Clair 40-27. Warrenton over Owensville 42-7. Blair Oaks Better than Osage, 56-14. Osceola defeats Liberal in 8-man football, 56-40. St. Paul over Northwest Hughesville, 51-36. East Buchanan over North Platte, 23-14. South Callaway defeats North Callaway, 20-6. Mount Vernon shuts out Aurora, 38-0. Nixa hangs on against Carthage, 34-28. Ava over Mountain Grove, 38-14. Monroe City defeats Highland, 30-14. Montgomery County over Van Far, 24-22. Moberly defeats Winfield, 44-19. Lamar, 40. Monette, 7. McDonald County shuts out Logan Rogersville, 16-0. Odessa over Mexico, 55-12. Polo defeats Maysville, 37-24. Wright City over Mark Twain, 42-6. Charleston defeats Malden, 48-30. Was Priory over Lutheran South, 36-20. Penny defeats Lawson, 30-27. Lafayette County over Warsaw, 27-22. Lebanon shuts out Kickapoo, 34-0. Rockbridge defeats Jefferson City, 35-27. Joplin shuts out Ozark, 28-0. It was Houston over Salem, 41-13. Lockwood defeats Jasper, 60-14. Warrenton over Holt, 28-17. Capital City defeats Hickman, 59-16. Hillsboro over Fort Zumwalt West, 35-28. Scott City shuts out Hayti, 58-0. It was Herman over St. James, 29-20. Harrisburg defeats Marceline, 28-20. Pleasant Hill over Harrisonville, 28-14. Hannibal defeats Troy Buchanan, 34-28. St. Pius, the 10th out of Festus, 46-14 over Grandview. Greenfield defeats College Heights Christian, 78-70. South Harrison over Gallatin, 28-26. West Strand defeats Fulton, 36-20. Elsewhere, Fort Zumwalt North over Fort Zumwalt East, 49-3. Forsyth shuts out Clever, 55-0. Father Tolton over Louisiana, 48-21. Fayette defeats Scotland County, 36-35. Eldon shuts out Gateway, 52-0. Nevada defeats East Newton, 47-19. Appleton City over Drexel, 72-52. South Holt defeats DeKalb, 69-6. Crestridge over Lincoln, 20-8. Miller defeats Cuba, 41-8. Northland Christian over Cornerstone Family Schools, 32-14. Clark County shuts out Macon, 51-0. Poplar Bluff defeats Cape Central, 42-35. Kelly over Chaffee, 24-14. Camdenton defeats Waynesville, 52-28. Carl Junction over Neosho, 32-24. Butler defeats Versailles, 42-22. Southern Boone over California, 27-20. Buffalo in double overtime defeats El Dorado Springs, 32-26. Bowling Green, 56 Lutheran, or 57-26 over Lutheran. Bishop LeBlanc defeats Knox County, 56-22. Bolivar shuts out Parkview, 48-0. Helias shuts out Battle, 41-0. Crystal City over Bayless, 55-22. Archie defeats Rich Hill, 94-16. Albany over St. Joseph Christian, 58-48. St. Mary's over Waterloo, Iowa, 30-23. St. Dominic, I say Waterloo, Iowa. It's Waterloo, Illinois. They didn't go to Iowa. My apologies. St. Dominic over Mascoutah, 42-14. Edwardsville, Illinois defeats Soldan, 47-6. CBC over Slough, 49-14. Plattsburgh over Schuyler County, 86-56. Oakville defeats Webster Groves, 35-24 last night. And West Plains over Hillcrest, 45-12 a night ago. That's a lot of scores, folks. I used to like to say if we didn't have it, it didn't happen. But in some cases, they have happened. We just don't have them yet. But we've got most of them. Go to scoreboardguy.net. You can follow us on Twitter and join us at Bambino's Italian Cafe on Mondays at 11:30 for the Central Bank of the Ozarks Quarterback Club. And vote for your team of the week or your Liona Laborers Local 663 team of the week. You can send us an email at MissouriSportsNetwork@gmail.com. Notify us on Twitter. Or heck, just call me at 417-327-6914. So glad you've tuned in. Hope everyone has a great evening. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reminds us to take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It could save your life. Be safe. Be smart. Be here tomorrow. And as always, keep it right here at the MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage.